Oh, there she is. Hey,
Here
Allison.
I am. Hi, Scott. How are you?
Great. It's so good to see you. Happy
You
New
too.
Year.
Happy New Year. I can't even believe that we actually made it to a new year, but we did. I'm getting used to calling 2020 last year. I'm like, oh, it was last year.
Yeah, yeah. Next, we're turning the page. So people have already been commenting on your podcast episodes and on Flower Math and how much they love it. And so, yay, we're so glad to have you tonight.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, being on your podcast is one of my favorite things. That's why it's like on my links page. I'm like, oh, you might want to check this out. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, tonight, if you're just joining us, and we have a lot of people joining us as you've come on, we're giving away 2 copies of Allison's book. And it was so funny. Last night, I did this thing, and I said, now, Allison's book is about, you can see how big Allison's book is. Every page of this book is packed with incredible stuff. So this was my demo last night. Okay,
Yeah.
this is how big Allison's book is. This is how much information's in Allison's book. Because
That's so funny.
every page is got great stuff. So we're giving away 2 copies of this tonight.
Yes.
And Allison has agreed to give away a strategy session with her one-on-one. And I think he said hopefully February would be the target time
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be great. And in order to win, you just need to you need to be in the US. You need to make a comment down below. You can sing Allison's praises. You can tell about a course you've gotten, you've loved. You can maybe ask a question. Hopefully we can get to that. And of course, you can always talk about the podcast. That still counts too. So, Allison, okay, so for people who might be new that can't imagine haven't heard of Real Flower Business, but it's possible.
It
If you
is.
could just briefly tell us, what you're doing, who you are, where you are, all those little nuggets.
The ins and outs. I'm Alison Ellis. If you're not familiar with me, which I know there are plenty of people who are not familiar with me, my business is realflowerbusiness.com. I have been a floral designer for over 25 years, and I'm not a luxury floral designer. I'm not a high-end floral designer. I'm just a regular floral designer who does, maybe a dozen weddings a year is sort of my sweet spot. And I teach floral designers how to do what I do, how to be profitable and love your business instead of having your business run you and feeling like you don't really know how much longer you can go on doing this thing that you used to love, but now it's kind of, slowly strangling you. My main thing that I really like to say is I help florists run a profitable business and get more freedom in their business. Building authority with like email and gaining trust, that's the stuff that's the nitty gritty that I love to get into. The pricing stuff's important, right? You got to know how you make money. But just like my book, it's like this much information, a little tiny. And I appreciate that. And a lot of credit goes to my editor for that, because I tend to like repeat myself. So she condensed it. But we can love the floristry part of floral design, but there's all these other pieces that are what keep us in business, from the pricing to the building authority and trust. And yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yeah. Well, you do such a great job of it, and you've built this amazing community around that as well.
Yeah.
I know I love, popping my head in there and just kind of see what's going on. And I think that one thing that always impresses me about your Facebook community is just how, somebody may have a problem or a challenge you're trying to face, and someone just, shows up. People show up. The community shows up for each other, and you show up too in there. It's not like you don't at all.
Right.
I love this. Petals and Stems Market. Amen. Love your insights. Learning from someone who has been down the road and shares your knowledge and is so appreciated. And so there's been several great comments like that. And so anyway, I'm going to kind of shrink that down a little bit. And so, yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Again, if you want to win a copy of Allison's book or her strategy session, you just need to put a comment in our feed right here. If you put it in after we're close, after we end the live, it'll be too late. So this is the time to do it. And then we're going to announce the winner. We're going to select the winner. I've got the accounting firm is in the back.
Right. You have your brokerage team or whatever.
Yes, they're all writing these names down, and we're doing random number generators to select a winner and all those great things. And so anyway, so that's what's going on. All right, so Allison, I know we talked earlier, plus I know I've been following your feeds and stuff. You've got some stuff coming up really soon, like this Friday, and I would love to hear more about what's going on.
Thank you. So I teach a course live every January called The Art of Good Business. When we were chatting earlier, I said, I really thought about not doing it this January because I was like, I'm tired. Last year we were tired, right? It's like everything feels very exhausting right now. But I committed, this is going to be my 4th year teaching the course in January, and I committed to teach it every year. So I said, even though I could change the date, I'm going to do it in January. So I spent my vacation editing the course, and it got me psyched up for the course. So I'm like, instead of feeling like, all right, I'm just doing this, I'm dragging myself through this, it turned into like, hey, you know what, actually, this course that I teach every year that I'm like, hey, you should do this with me every year. I actually believe it because I'm doing it, and I'm really glad I did. So yeah, I'm so excited. We dive in on Friday. Nobody has to join live. People can do this at their own pace. People sign up for the course throughout the year at different times. But I do it live every January because it's nice. It's just nice to have somebody dive deeply into the concepts that we talk about, so that you're not on your own. So you can say, like, ideal customers, right?
Right.
People talk about ideal customers. I've got a couple short videos on my IGTV if anybody wants a couple ideal customer tips. But, ideal customers are a concept that a lot of people talk about, but no one really defines them. And I know for myself, years ago, I made this assumption wrongly that ideal customer meant luxury, right? Ideal customer means big bucks. Ideal customer means something almost even unattainable, something I haven't even tasted that fruit yet, right? And what I came to really realize through practice, which is why I do this course every year with the students that take it, it's, the more you drill down on this, right, the better you get at being able to really understand who your ideal client is. They're not a price point for me. They're a personality. There's the trust level. There's the no hassle factor, right? They're not asking me 1,001 questions. They're not looking for me to jump through hoops before they book. There's, that's my ideal customer. Your ideal customer, somebody else's, they'll be different. Some people might have 5 ideal customers because they've got multiple income streams, right? But that's, this is more of that newer age way of doing business, man, right? Where we're not talking to everybody. We're talking to the people who care the most about what we're doing. And we're not worrying about the rest. And then what that does is it has this like trickle down effect that when we start getting clear on who we really serve, we get clear on what we do really well. And then we start to do that even better. And then we talk about that even better. And then we attract more people. It just sort of, it doesn't snowball because that sort of is momentum on its own, right?
Right.
If it were that, I would be like, take my course, The Art of Good Business, this January, and then it will snowball for you, right? It'll just start growing. That's not what happens, right? You take my course with me, and then you're like, oh, I got some insights, and then that led to this, and this small shift. And then all of a sudden that small shift unlocks something about your thinking, about the way customers think about you, about the way you're showing up for your brand in a way that then customers like want to show up for you because you're showing up for them. So it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to dive deeper into these things. And so, yeah, I do it every January, and we start on Friday. I'm so excited.
That is exciting. Well, you know, and it's funny. It's like sometimes people don't realize they need that until you realize that sometimes what's holding you back is perhaps small shifts in your thinking that you don't even realize the baggage that you may be carrying that really influences how you approach your customers, how you approach a sale, how you relate. I want to take a second because I know we've had people join us. We're doing this giveaway tonight. We're giving away 2 copies of Allison's book, and we're giving away a 3rd gift tonight of a strategy session with Allison, a one-on-one. All you have to do is leave a comment in this feed in our live, and at the end of the live, we're going to pick the winner. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. Allison, you know, I feel like that you said that about, you know, picking your ideal customer. And I know recently, I'd love to dig deeper on that for just a minute, because I know that recently I have been excited to be able, you know, the podcast I listen to a lot of times, you know, to hear some conversations about this. I'm amazed at the detail that you can go with this. It can be fun, and it's like, in a way, it helps you really visualize who you're trying to reach. And it's not this generic, you know, brides from the age of, you know, 22 to 28 with higher disposable income.
Right.
It's more than that. And
So
do you mind kind of going, let's take a walk. Let's go down that path.
I love it. So yeah, the walk down the path of the ideal customer. So there's a lot of different things we want to collect. We want to know and find out about our ideal customer. Oftentimes, what we think about as, you know, who do you serve? Who's your market, right? That's really like when I was in college 20 years ago, that's what we really looked at, right? It was really about who's your market. And then the market becomes like a geographic area, right? It's like, it's this zone and it's these type of people and they make this type of money. And then you go dive deeper, right? And they read these types of magazines and they, you know, like you start to have some categorizing. But when you're a flower shop, for example, or if you just do weddings like I do, you have very different ideal clients in terms of what are they looking for from you. For me, as a wedding florist, what my customer is looking for is someone who specializes in weddings, somebody who knows all about weddings because they don't know anything about weddings. For a flower shop, they might have multiple different types of ideal customers because some of them will be just plain old proximity. This person shops with me a lot because they walk past my shop. And so thereby, right, they're part of my ideal client. In my income stream is the people who walk by. So this person, but if you actually engage in a conversation with that person, right, what is it about them? What type of job do they have? Did they grow up with did they grow up where they always had flowers? You know, florists, we like to talk a lot. I joke about this a lot. I probably even did the last time I was on your podcast, but florists, you know, you can count on an about page that talks about how they grew up loving flowers in their grandmother's garden or something, right? But what if you, instead of talking about that, you know, find out how did your clients fall in love with flowers? Why do they need these? Why are they buying from you? You know, that's when you're getting closer in touch with who is your ideal customer. What makes them choose you? And there's just multiple different paths for, you know, what leads to this ideal customer. from the proximity to their education level to, you know, all the demographics. But on a deeper level, you know, when they see that image on your website, what makes them go, I got to click on this? Why do they love that? And it's for you to figure out, right? That's part of our job. So you know, we say our job would be so much easier if all we had to do was make beautiful flower arrangements, right? But
if you make them, they will come.
Right. We like to think that, but what we really need to do is attract the client to us. And that frankly happens on our website. So it's like you can be the most talented floral designer, but if you don't know who your ideal customer is on a deeper level than just they live in this area or they're sending flowers to somebody in the zip code, right? Like if you have a deeper understanding of who they are, and you got to put the right words then on your website to bring those people. So it's this, you know, you're stacking the layers of understanding who they are and then what do they want to hear from you that hits them in a way that's clearer. So it's not, we're not yelling at the customer, this thing is on sale, or shop, buy this now. We're whispering to the customer. They're hearing us. It hits them in a different way. I would say it's like the hairs on the back of their neck go up. They just sort of go, I don't know what it is, but this is the person for me. It doesn't have to be that they go, and you know why I picked you? Although a lot of times it is, right? And yeah, that's what you want to listen to. When the customer says to you, do you know why I picked you? I listen every time the customer says that. What, you know why I picked you? Pay attention. That's the answer to who your ideal customer is.
Well, that's the gold. I mean, that is really the gold that can help you connect to 10 more people like that. Because the odds are there are 10 more people like that, if not 100 more people like that.
Yeah.
And when you can learn that and put it into that little phrase or that little nugget, then boom, you've created a pipeline really at that point. I think that's awesome. And you know, it's so funny. And I don't know, and I guess we could talk about this. I'm not sure. It's funny how much you can niche down on thinking about this person. I know that for me, it's like, okay, I haven't gone through this exercise like I want to. So it's one of my goals in the next month to do that, to sit down and give that person a name.
Yeah.
Tell me where that person lives. Tell me, what does that person do for a living? What does, you know, and you're right, because if you're a flower shop or a flower farmer, I know I see Grateful Gardeners on here. It's like, you know, depending on who you are and what your business is, excuse me, you're going to, you know, that person is going to look totally different.
Yeah.
You know, it might be, it's a flower designer that, you know, is a big gardener that enjoys, you know, nature and has a dog and has maybe 2 kids and, you know, likes to do weddings that average between 5 and 10,000. I mean, you can get that narrow of a niche to kind of help you psychologically frame what you put on your website, frame what you put in your Instagram. And I love this. And I love the fact you help people do this. And I just think that's so great. Do you, this course that you're getting ready to start, it starts Friday, I think we talked about.
It does, yeah.
Will you tell us, like, is it a 1 month, 1 day, how does it work? What does it look like?
So the Art of Good Business is broken down into basically 4 different parts. And then I've got sort of like a bonus, like just a little implementation motivation part that I add to it. There's lots of bonuses I always add to my courses too. But the essential way that I walk through this is week 1, we really dive into who are your ideal customers on a deeper level. So like you said, my ideal customer, I share with you exactly who she is. She's a real person. She's not made up. She's a real person who is a real customer. And it's like, what's her job? What's her hobby? Why did she choose Vermont, which is where I'm located, to get married, right? really walking you through to show you who my customer is, to give you a sense of like how deep you can go with your customer. And really one of the reasons we do this is because we want to discover the language, right? Like the love language of our customers. And so we can put that out there. So that's what we do in our first week. Then we dive into your website. And that's one of my favorite weeks because I've got these 12 like bang-in tips for making your website better. It's literally just follow these 12 steps, do these 5 fixes on your website, and you're going to increase your engagement and get your message so people are seeing it, right? It's one of our biggest complaints as floral designers, like, no one read my minimum, right? Sorry if I sounded just like you out there, but that's what you sound like. I can't believe they didn't read my minimum. They're not reading anything on your website. That's why we need to make our website so just right, so just right, things in the right place, because they're not going to read most of it. And so we want them to get the message that's most important to them so that they click to contact us. And then we pre-qualify them. And that's what we go into in week 3 is now that we've attracted them, how we weed out the people that are now not a good fit, even though they liked, they got attracted to our flame, but they still can't afford it. They can't afford it. So we weed them out, right? And then how we also, on the flip side of that, the pre-qualifying, because that's people are always fascinated. How do you pre-qualify? Well, how do I do that?
Yes.
I do it so it feels like customer service. I don't do it so it feels like a wall that you have to try to get, there's barbed wire at the top of the screen. It's a bridge. So I can easily bow out of an event that I can tell is not a good fit, or I can easily elicit some more information if I'm like, they seem like it's a great venue. It's a date I'm available. I like their color palette. They didn't fill out the budget question yet, but if I throw this out to them with a minimum, then I know I can move forward knowing that we're on the same page. So this helps you stop wasting time with clients, right? Yeah. So, to the ideal client part, I can say to florists, would you like to discover your ideal client, right? Or I can say, would you like to stop wasting time with clients who aren't a good fit, right? That's really what my ideal client is looking for, the florists out there. They want to stop writing proposals for people who were not qualified. And it happens by knowing who your customer is, right? Getting that website language, and then the pre-qualifying, because that's the step where they don't get through. They don't get all the way across the bridge. You have the bridge, they see the bridge, you're like, sorry, not for you. Sorry, and you don't waste time. You're not spending too much time on proposals with people who are going to burn you out because they're just price shopping. Because, by the way, when that's happening to you, again, this is, no offense to you out there, but if you're like, they're just price shopping, it's because they're not that into you. You didn't make them that into you yet. And so if that is happening to you repeatedly, where you're like, I'm writing too many proposals for people who aren't a good fit, it's fixable on your end. It's not the customer who isn't reading your minimum, right? That's not the problem. The problem is the knowing who they are, how they want to be talked to, and then inviting them in your process and showing them the steps.
Sure.
And that's really what this course is all about. And of course, like the final week, the 4th week, is about eliminating the competition. And this isn't meaning, like chopping them off at the knee, we're not like getting a crowbar. We are forgetting about the false metrics that we follow, right? Like how many views, how many likes, how many people are following me. We forget about that stuff and we just focus on who we serve, how to make our own website better, right? And how to make our customer service experience the best it can be, so that we don't have to worry about what the competition is doing. this was revolutionary for me, you know, really, for me to finally go from being like, who got that wedding? That person didn't book me. I wonder who they went with. You know, and you have those moments you go, oh, someone must have underbid me, right? It can only be because somebody was cheaper. It can't be because someone was better than me. It can't be because someone wrote a quote that was more compelling or someone got more trust than me. Oh no, it must simply be that I was undercut, right? When you can stop worrying about why you didn't get the event because you kind of already know. You weren't that into them either, because the more you do this work, you know who the customer is, you know how you want to talk to them, how they want to be talked to. So you attract them, you weed out the bad people. And by bad people, I just mean bad for you. You can be like, I know exactly who is perfect for you. It just ain't me, babe. Ain't me you're looking for. Then you send that person on their way, right? Like that's part of my good customer service. Even if you're not a good fit for me, you should have a good experience with my company. That's how I feel. You don't not get a reply from me with your $500 inquiry, which by the way, I get few and far between, because they can tell I'm not for them, right? I'm putting out all the signs. I'm being as clear as I can so that it's very, very seldom that someone comes in with one of those $500 total budget inquiries, right? Very rare.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I mean, it's amazing because there's so many things you've just said that going deeper in a course like that, I think is really, really powerful. I just want to share one thing. I see Tracy from Pedals and Cents made this comment. After Allison's podcast, I created a vision board for the 3 customer types. I cut out magazine pictures and created a poster with all of them, all the elements. And I thought that what a great idea. And I feel like so many of these things are there's subtle things that we overlook thinking we've done them, and we have done them. I mean, and this is the thing, and this is not judging anybody. This is not shaming anybody. This is none of that. It's like we only do the best we can with what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a lot of floral designers, and we've talked about this earlier in the week, you know, haven't been to business school or haven't had this kind of training. And you know, and of course we all fall in love with this business because we love flowers. We love making beautiful things. We love watching that bride cry when you walk in with the bouquet. We love that it's a pretty bouquet. We love all those elements of it. But the one thing I think, and I know when you and I were talking about this earlier about, you know, the business side of what happens isn't always the sexy side. But making profit, being sustainable so you can keep doing what you love is so, so important. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because when you take a course like this, when you get this information, sometimes it is literally, if you think of a boat, I think of a rudder. I think you can move that rudder a fraction, a tiny, tiny fraction, which then changes your trajectory, you know, sometimes light years when your business grows and develops. And these are the little shifts and the little details that you might not have thought of, you know. And I think about, I know I had a guest, I think it was Sue. It could be wrong. I want to say it was Sue from White Magnolia. It might not have been Sue. It could have been someone else. That they sent us a bio. They were going to be a guest on our podcast. They sent us a bio. And I read the bio. And I'm like, I know exactly what this bio is doing. It was from their website. And I want to say, this is the perfect bio for a website. It's about how you can serve that ideal client.
That's right.
I mean, it was so well done. Of course, the bio for the podcast, I want to know about her. I want to know about that person. But it was so great to recognize that is how a website bio should be written. Because when, you know, people want to know about themselves, they want to know what you can do. And there's a fine line of weaving through that, you know, that field that I think is so important. And the other thing I wanted to say, before I say it though, hopefully I'll remember, don't forget, we're getting close to the end. So if you want a copy of Allison's free book or her strategy session that we're giving away also, the one-on-one, make sure you make a comment down below, because that's who we're picking from, people who made comments, and we're going to be giving it away at the end. So you want to make sure you do that. But now let me try to remember what I was going to say. I knew it's just
the bio. How you were, the last thing you said was how the bio was different for the podcast than on the website. I love that tip though. Let me pick it up from here for you,
go ahead.
That is not a small tip what you're saying there. People do want to hear more about themselves, and what we end up doing is we talk about ourselves on our website and not the customer. And that's a huge piece of what I talk about in the Art of Good Business. We want to have an idea of who they are, what they want to hear, and then we want to like describe them to themselves on our website so that they can go, oh, that's for me. That's where they get that little, oh, my hairs on the back of my neck are standing up and I don't know why. I'm clicking the contact button, So it's not a small tip that you point out there.
No, not at all. And I think I feel like mindset is such a big part of this. And I feel like, so many times, 2020 was rough for a lot of people. I mean, we'll just call it what it was. And we've turned that page, and now we're looking at 2021, and with still a degree of uncertainty, at least for the first half. And so I know a lot of people are tired. I know a lot of people are not necessarily in the best place. Yeah. And it's hard to think about rolling up your sleeves and once again reinventing your business or finding a way to survive the next 6 months. Yep. And all of that's really tough. And I feel like, even still, if you haven't, I know I look at it sometimes. I mean, just being real here, there are things I wish I hadn't gotten to last year. And I know you and I talk about this and personally, and it's kind of like, you know what? Those things were kind of in the crock pot, and they've been, culminating. And now I have some clarity that I didn't have 6 months ago to move forward. Yep. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes just things sitting on the back burner, stewing a little bit, to then be ready to do that. And I feel like, this course is an investment. Mm-hmm. I don't want to, that's for sure. But I do want to say that if you are a little bit interested in taking this course, make sure you contact Allison, DM her through Instagram, shoot her an email, do whatever, and talk to her, ask questions, find out, because you might be able to just in that time, number one, figure out, a path moving forward if you're interested in doing it. And if you have anything else to say to that, please do. I just want to make sure people aren't afraid to at least reach out to you, because you're very approachable. And so
I am not only approachable, but I am more than happy to, hop on a call with you to be like, is this the right course for you? Because I really don't want anybody to take it who's going to be not thrilled with it. And, the beauty is we do this every year. So I have some people who are coming back for the 4th year. And what's interesting is, I'm just going to say her first name, Rebecca. Rebecca's coming back for the 4th year. She's doing some teaching now too. So it's kind of fun to see her like on Instagram, and she's doing demos and teaching and stuff. And just how much she has grown in 4 years. And the beauty, like the work that we do in the Art of Good Business, and I call it work because it is work. The work is practice. There's no finish line. There's no so at the end of 4 weeks, you will get a diploma that you are now in good business, right? Because just like building a brand is never done, right? You don't get a good brand and then you get to deliver crappy service or have a terrible product, but you're still a good brand, right? It doesn't happen. No. It's consistency is what keeps you in business, right? And so that really is the key. It's really about building a long-lasting brand. And that's what I think, I've been in business for 18 years. So when we talk about who's our ideal customer, what do we do that makes us different? You know, for me, I know what makes me different. And what people say is, I can tell you're honest. I believe what you're saying, right? Now, I take that for granted, just like we take for granted, you know, that we took somebody's vision board and turned it into their real life dream, right? You hear that all the time. You take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, right? When I'm doing these, because I do this work, I edited my course and I was like doing my worksheets. And yeah, I'm like, you got to be clear that what you deliver is honesty, trust. That's not a small thing, right? Whether you're buying a course with me or someone's buying a wedding with you, it's a leap of faith and it's an investment, right?
Yes.
They're paying in full in advance. We have to give them a certain level of trust. We have to give them a certain level of assurance. And that's how I feel about this course. Like, I really want anybody who signs up, you got to be willing to do work. You got to be willing to look at what you're doing right and maybe some things that you could be doing better. And also be willing to be kind to yourself, because,
Yes.
you know, and, you know, even to you, my friend, with the things you were in the crock pot, you know, if it didn't happen last year, you survived a pandemic, so you
High
did
five,
that.
high five.
So this year, you know, it's like, I think it's a good thing. Anything we didn't get to do last year. I mean, not the weddings I didn't get to do. I missed that income, but I'm not gonna lie, I missed that money. But what I think is, with this kind of zeroing in on what matters most, I realized how much I really do love these weddings, right? I had moments where, you know, people say, you should stop doing weddings and just sell courses. And I'm like, but it keeps me real. Yeah, it's more than keeps me real. I love it. I missed it. I really, really missed it. I love designing flowers. I love talking about business, but I actually do love floral design. So, you know, it's a revelation, right? It's like, okay, listen, you already knew this about yourself, but now you really know. You don't want to stop doing flowers. And you can dial into what really matters this year, even with the uncertainty. Because what I really think is going to happen is people are going to be booking us for 2022 very early in 2021, because they're not dummies. And they know that we only have a certain amount of dates and that this year isn't certain, and that they better start booking now for 2022. Yeah. So that is if I can just put that out into the universe, the woo-woo portion of this broadcast, you know, that's my wish to, like, if you say it, there's already a reality. It already exists simply by putting it out there. And I think that is really possible, that we're going to book so many events for 2022. And that's why it's worth getting that ideal client story straight, getting your website on point now, because it is going to be some months of still juggling clients. It just is, you know, and it's going to depend on where you live as to how much you got it right. Everything's like, please, you know, there's please. Yeah. So, you know, you can prepare for uncertainty when you're really grounded in what you do and what you deliver. It can sustain you, you know, it really can.
It makes a lot of difference. I want to share Golden Wildflowers. Sorry, I'm not sure what your name is, but you know, that's all good. Oh my gosh, didn't even know I needed this. Thank you. And I think this is one of the points that I remembered my point earlier, and I think that's why I said what I said earlier about there's no shame, there's no judgment. Give yourself the grace, because, you know, we're all doing the best we can. Mm-hmm. And this is why I think it's so important to be plugged into community, because, you know, that expression, I think from the Bible, it's like iron sharpens iron. And it's like, you know, you just feel like so many times there's, you know, we can learn from each other, and there are things that we don't think of. And that's why even joining your email or our email list, and you get those reminders that come in and you think, oh my gosh, you know, I forgot about that. It's that time of year. I need to be thinking about this again. Yeah. And I was so glad that you said what you said about the work, because how many times do we pay for a class, or we pay for a book, or we pay for something and coaching, And, you know, we go through the motions and we think that on the other side it magically happens. And it's like, no, I wish it did.
I know.
Because then we could charge a lot more for those courses.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, but unfortunately, it's sort of a diving board for you. You step out in faith on that diving board for you to take the jump in faith to make the splash in your community and in your business. And that is really what this is about. And this is the reason why I really do appreciate your programs and things, because I feel like, you know, there's some accountability, there's some homework, there's some, you know, and I'm not trying to scare somebody away. Sometimes we need that, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes we want that. We don't even know we want that.
Yeah.
So we're part of a group with other people who are in the same place, and or maybe not the same place, but the same desire to improve our businesses.
Yeah.
And boom, then you're like, okay, I can do this. You know, you've got a cheerleader in your corner.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great. So I want to make sure I say this is the last call, because we're gonna, in like 1 minute, we're gonna start calculating here our winners.
So exciting.
It is. I know. I love this part. Bloom Chicago. Thank you, Scott, for having these daily live talks. I've been looking forward to these and learning from and with so many amazing flower farmers. Yes, it's been great, and you're welcome. And it's been fun for us. I know it's you know, we've been trying to have different people on every night, and really trying to promote and give away some things that I know, like this, will help make a difference for people. And I just like having all these different kind of levels of things to do. We've got a few more comments in here. Flower growing business and the chat was helpful. Thanks, friends. Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, Allison does weddings. Okay, I've freelanced. I've grown flowers. I've sold flowers. I mean, this kind of stuff is for anybody in a creative business. So let's say you're a photographer. I mean, yes, maybe some nuances of what Allison teaches might not apply to you, but the business part is the business part. And it doesn't matter almost what creative business you're in. I believe there's takeaways that we can all benefit from.
Yeah. I've thought in the past, like, Art of Good Business really is a course that could be for anybody. But again, just knowing my ideal customer is floral designers.
Right.
I really am not like, I want to just be for any wedding business. And I think that's actually also the beauty of the course. As I was reading through, doing my edits, you get such a shortcut because it's not general. It's like, this is how we talk about flowers to the customer. And it's not like whether you're a hairdresser or this or that. It's like, really, I like cut through the bowl to get you to what you're really looking like. I sell what you sell. I know, you know, I know those moments where you struggle, where you go, because a lot of this work, as you know, Scott, you know, it's like, what's your why? How do you change the world? And we go, we don't, we just do wedding flowers, or, you know, but we do change the world. Yes, we're not solving world hunger and things like this, right? We're not. However, you know, you got to be really real with what you're doing. And after 18 years of running my own business, what I know is I make a humongous difference in these people's lives. I make their whole planning process easier. From the minute they book me to after the wedding, they are so glad that they booked me. And that is what I do. So I might not be, then what I can do is when I make money, right, then I give some of that money from every wedding to the local food bank here, right? So when you think like, what's your why, what's your bigger, you know, it can be very easy to be self-deprecating and be like, what we do is not that important. You know, it's so easy. I don't really change the world. I just, you know, I bang out these like teacup arrangements in my back room, right? But for every person, you know, you really actually are making an impact. And for somebody who's never seen a teacup hot glued to a saucer, you just made their day, honey. You just made how did they do this?
It's amazing. That's funny. Well, okay, so now we're going to be done, and I'm going to ask the staff of thousands to start calculating our winners for tonight. So that's exciting. And so I went, so crazy. I know we didn't talk about this, but this is silly. Your website, if you want to know where the course is, you can go to our Instagram page, follow the links, but what's the best way for them? Is it just to go to realflowerbusiness.com?
You can go to realflowerbusiness.com. The shortest way would be just go to me right here on Instagram and go through my links, and you'll see it says Art of Good Business. It says enroll, but it's really the page that gives you information about the course. And you actually can schedule a call with me right there. I can see some people seem like they're ready to sign up. I would love to have you, truly. But if you really have any questions for me, I'm scheduling calls tomorrow, and I'm happy to chat with you for like 20 minutes, make sure it's the right fit for your business.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that, you know, I mean, this is not something we always advertise about, but I know when it comes to the cost, you know, I know that you've talked to me about, you know, if you need to work out a plan, if you need to figure it out, that you're there to help people succeed. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I do. I'm offering payment plans, and they're interest free. So I know that, like, for me, if you want to do this work, like, so I talked to somebody the other day. She said, you know, I think I want to do your course. Can we chat? So we talked, and I said, so listen, I'm going to talk to you about blogging. I'm going to tell you about blogging. She says, I want to start blogging. I said, you're my dream girl. And now she's perfect for the course. So like, if you're like that, right, where you want to do the work, I want you in the course. So don't hesitate if you have like a financial constraint right now. I'm here for you.
Well, I got the proverbial envelope, so I'm really excited. I know. Are you ready? Yes. So the first book is going to go to Petals and Pollen Flowers. You're the winner of the first book. I'm really excited for you. I'm telling you, you're going to love this book. And probably after you get it, you're going to wish you could sign up for this course. But that's okay. That's okay. And then the second book is going to go to Everbloom Fields. I'm excited about that, especially excited about that. And so congratulations. And they're still on here, so that's awesome. And the third giveaway, this is our first time giving away 3 giveaways. I have a small secret. Tomorrow night, we are giving away 5 giveaways.
Wow. Now you're making me wish I had 3 more to give away.
It's okay. It's not a competition. It's, you know, the session with you is awesome, so that's great. So the winner of the strategy session is Petals and Stems Market. I'm so excited. Yay, Tracy. I can't believe you won it. I'm excited for you. And so that's going to be really, really great. I see you're still on here, hopefully. So if you won, DM me, and we'll get the information from you, and we'll make sure we get these things in the mail or however we need to schedule it. Yep. I think that's great. So any last words before we close here?
Just, that was really fun. Giving some away was really fun. We should do that again sometime.
I know. Well, I just love being, you know, because a lot of times, you know, people don't know till later, and then you forget about it and who won. And I just wanted it to kind of be part of, you know, this moment, because I appreciate people showing up, being a part of our conversation, and Tracy saying thank you so much. Petals and Pollen saying thank you so much. So, and thank you, Golden Wildflowers. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been great fun. And don't forget, tomorrow night, it's at 4:30. So it's a little bit early because we're traveling over the pond to be with Joe Massey tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Which I'm sure will be exceptionally entertaining because he always likes to pick on me. And so it'll be a lot of fun. So it's all good. Anyway, thank you so much, Allison, for
thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me. I always love talking with you. I love talking with your audience. You are just a pleasure to talk with. You just so get it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Take care.
Keep doing beautiful work.
Bye-bye.